Hello, this is Michelle Payton, and this is the first part of a two-part video series. First, in this video, I am going to explain in simple terms how the brain completes a learning cycle. The second video is going to explain how to apply this information to relearn productive habits using positive hypnosis. So, let's look at the brain. We're going to talk about 5 areas of the brain. The first 4 we're going to talk about is how we learn through reassociation. The first area in the back of the brain is where we collect information. We may or may not be interpreting the information, but we move those pieces of information down to the back of the brain where we store millions, maybe billions of memories, and those become our memory anchors. We then move into the problem-solving area, the frontal cortex. We're reassociating with memories that we have in the back of the brain. And then we move to motor output. And motor output means we either we're intentionally deciding if we're going to take an action or not take an action. And that will then be stored in the back of the brain again as another useful memory to reuse. Now, the tricky part is the amygdala blocks negative emotions from number 2, I'll say the back cortex, the back of the brain. Those memories that cause duress. If we can convince the amygdala that memories are positive enough, we can have that door open so that we can get to the frontal lobe. And why is that important? Well, in the front of the brain, we'll say number 3 or frontal cortex, the problem-solving area, we can hold about 40 pieces of information, 40 memories, and then those will be whittled down to maybe 8 pieces, and a new type of behavior will form as a result of those memories that are connecting. Now, research changes for the brain. So it could be 50 memories and 10 that it whittles down to. It could be 30 memories and 6. But the physiological process is that you're taking information that's a lot of information from the back of the brain, and you can put limited information in the front of the brain to work on new habits. Now, I have this in this video so that you can look at it separately. You can pause this and read it, but know that it's here, and we're going to move on to what positive hypnosis is. So what we do with positive hypnosis is we're using positive frames. Subjects of cats, dogs, travel, learning. There are positive frames that we might have about those various subjects. But like I said earlier, if the amygdala blocks that because we have a negative frame for a cat, a dog, traveling, or education, then we remain in the back cortex. If we want to revise behavior or replace behavior, then we have to get past that amygdala. And the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. So if we want different results, it has to become possible that we can pass that amygdala to get into the frontal cortex. So what if we just look at the cat example for a moment? Say we want to think positively about cats. But we've had a difficult time with that, and the amygdala is blocking us from changing that, from replacing, I should say, that pattern. So what we do is we look for memories, I will call those rehabits as well, that are positive so that we can reframe our perception of cats. And you can see if we're pulling from the back of the brain, and we'll call that number 2 for now, in the back cortex, purring, chatty, fluffy, independent. Then there's some positive information that you can, the amygdala stands down, and you can get to the front of the brain to replace your perception of what you have of cats, and then you move to motor output, which means you may or may not take action right away, but you still are moving into a frame that makes you feel more comfortable with cats. Now, there are 5 key techniques that we use in positive hypnosis to reframe. I'm not going to cover these, describe all the definitions and all to say. You can pause this video if you want to read them in detail. But I talked to you about self-hypnosis and hypnosis and what that is. But alpha brainwave, especially in positive hypnosis, is very important to this process. I'll talk about that in video 2. Positive hypnosis is about completing the learning cycle by allowing the mind to relax to access the subconscious or reassociations, which are the same thing. You access the back cortex, this areas number 1 and number 2 that I show in the video earlier. You pass the amygdala blocks. You process in the frontal cortex, and then you consciously decide on motor output, action or non-action, your decision. So, this is the end of the first video of a 2-part series. Please review the second video of the 2-part series if you want to learn how positive hypnosis can help you apply this information. Please let me know if you have questions by contacting me through my website, or you can give me a call. Let me know how I can explain information further.